Good afternoon, folks. It is Thursday, July 28th, 6 p.m. And I've been wanting to make a video for a few days, but I keep pouring over ideas in my head and new things keep popping up. And I'm just going to kind of shoot from the hip a little bit here. I want to talk about the reality television show that is the American political process. Now, everybody is talking about the DNC leaks and how it has come out and shown that basically the Democratic primaries were all rigged. Clearly, Bernie Sanders was undermined by the Democratic Party. And, you know, I have a lot of Bernie supporters that are in my friends. I'm not a Bernie supporter, but I have a lot of friends that support Bernie and they were following his campaign and supporting it and you know, in the trenches fighting really hard for what they believed and what they thought was right. And regardless of whether or not I agree with the platform, I can respect the passion as someone who supported Ron Paul in 2012. People who've known me that long know that, you know, I was a very hardcore Ron Paul supporter. And got the opportunity to meet Dr. Paul at one of his town hall meetings in Exeter, New Hampshire, and it was a great experience. So when the Republican National Convention of 2012 revealed that there's a great video by Ben Swann. Did scripted RNC convention cause a civil war in the GOP? And I think, looking back now, flash forward to 2016, where we are now, I think the answer to that is yes. The establishment GOP is out, and no, I'm not a Donald Trump supporter, but he's definitely not the status quo for the GOP. I don't trust the guy. There's a lot of things in his platform I don't like. There are some things that I can understand where people are coming from, and I do agree with. I like that he talks about 9/11 truth. I like that he talks about the dangers of vaccines, and really what I don't like is I don't like how he came out and said, if you kill a cop, you're automatically going to get the death penalty. Mostly because I don't think that the sentiment is mutual if the shoe's on the other foot. Like, for instance, Freddie Gray, all cops have been exonerated. Freddie Gray, his death was ruled a homicide, and he died in police custody, and all the cops that were involved were found not guilty of his death. So there is a double standard when it comes to this Black Lives Matter issue, Blue Lives Matter. There's a double standard in play where shiny badges are given special rights, given a pass, and this thin blue line is nothing more than, supposed good cops that are covering for the behavior of bad cops. There is a war on police, but the war on police is coming from bad cops. If a cop decides to whistleblow and point out bad behavior, time and time again, we're seeing that these cops are being removed, that they're losing their careers. So the war on police is from police, bad cops, bad policy, rooting out and targeting good cops that are oath keepers and defenders of the Constitution. So there's your war on cops. But I'm jumping around a little bit because, I get a lot on my mind and there's a lot going on. And basically I've been trying to wrap my head around what is the best way going forward to address some of these issues. Now, I've seen a lot of my friends that were Bernie supporters. I'm very thankful that they are at least principled enough to, despite the calls even from Bernie to go ahead and support Hillary, that they're principled enough to realize that she is everything that Bernie campaigned against. She is the most 1% of a presidential candidate. She is the biggest Wall Street candidate, the biggest Goldman Sachs candidate. And she cheated to get where she is. There's no doubt about it that the DNC stacked the deck against Bernie. There's no doubt about it that they were shaping who was going to be the nominee. And it goes even further that the DNC chair that just resigned was actually Hillary's campaign manager back in 2008. And Hillary's choice for vice president, Kaine, was also a DNC chair. So that timeline really needs to be examined and looked at. It seems like this fix goes back at least a couple of presidential election cycles. Franklin Delano Roosevelt said that presidents are selected, not elected. And in the modern era, more often than not, that's been proven to be true. I want you to really think about what that means. What FDR was saying was, your vote doesn't count. Somebody that is in power, and not just the president, not the Congress, but this hidden hand that's been talked about in government for a long time. You want to call it Rockefellers or Rothschilds or whoever it is, right? J.P. Morgan. There are puppet masters that pull the strings, and all they really need from you is participation, if you will. Okay? They need to, how many Americans really vote? Less than half? And it gives this appearance of consent of the governed. If 120 million people vote in the presidential election, then they have this illusion that this is the will of the people. And then they proceed to use the media to manipulate your opinions and tell you how to feel about something and tell you what to think about something. You get swept up in this mass hysteria that, a respected source or a source that you've been led to follow, a shepherd, if you will, which makes you a sheep by definition. I'll give you an example. Shaun King of the Black Lives Matter movement, who was so against Hillary, he wasn't going to support Hillary. He gave his endorsement to Hillary now. And, so he's kind of a shepherd of sorts. People will follow his lead. Bernie Sanders, who railed against the corruption of Hillary, spoke out against it. And he was rock solid, and he had a real grassroots will of the people movement behind him that was so powerful that the DNC had to move covertly in collusion with Hillary Clinton against the will of the people to shape Hillary as the nominee. Think about that for a minute. It was so dangerous to the establishment candidate, Hillary Clinton, that is, Google Clinton body count. She's corrupt going back all the way back to Nixon, and there's just dozens and dozens of people that crossed the Clintons that found themselves in bad circumstances around the Clintons that ended up dead, So she is the choice. She is the establishment's choice for president. Now, I don't think that she can win fair and square against Donald Trump. And again, I always have to preface everything I say with, I don't support this person or I don't support that person. What I'm saying is just what my view of the situation is. I find that, Trump can be dangerous too, but he's not the choice. Hillary Clinton is definitely the choice for the establishment. And I would invite people to really step outside their confirmation bias and examine some of the things that I'm saying here. And, step outside of a comfortable news source. Whoever your go-to is, first of all, if you're going to mainstream media, you're definitely getting lied to. There's so many examples over the last few decades, and at least, of Fox News cooking the books and CNN faking the news and the use of green screens and during the Gulf War One, they had a completely blue screened what was supposed to be out in the field, where they threw on a gas mask and threw on a helmet to pretend that they were in a war zone. Recently, we have a Syrian journalist speaking in Arabic and cueing gunfire to give the impression that he was in a hot zone. I mean, the media, flat out, is just here to shape your opinion. It's really the fourth branch of government. So you need to step to like alternative media, like Ben Swann, who is an Emmy Award-winning journalist who interviewed both Obama and Mitt Romney in the last election cycle. Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change does great work. Alex Jones, he's really on the Trump bandwagon, and I disagree with a lot of his positions, but he does have good information, and he does put a lot of good information out there. For the most part, he's anti-establishment. He really is walking a line with Trump, where he doesn't want to come out and say he's all for Trump in case it blows up on the other side, which it's probably gonna, and I think he knows it. He's smart enough to know that. But he's also smart enough to ride the populist movement and kind of, walk that fence, walk that line, a lot like Matt Drudge does as well. Just due diligence, people. Don't follow these shepherds. Don't follow Sean King. Don't follow Bernie Sanders. If they make a move that's against your principle, don't be goaded into following along what they're telling you to do. Sarah Silverman, she's a shepherd, gets up at the DNC and tells the Bernie or Bust people that they're being ridiculous. No, you're not. You're being principled. You are fighting a fight that you believe in, and you have these people coming forward telling you that you just need to concede as if Hillary won fair and square. And let's face it, she didn't win fair and square. She cheated. She lied. The DNC lied. And any principled Bernie supporter that really believed in the things that Bernie was teaching and talking about and working towards, you shouldn't vote for Hillary, regardless of the outcome. Hey, if you even think your vote matters, which I don't think your vote matters, the only way your vote can matter is in a landslide victory. Like the whole country has to come out and really believe in that. And the fact of the matter is, more than half of us don't anymore. I'm not opposed to people voting strategically, though. To bring other voices into the conversation, to vote for Gary Johnson, I got my issues with him too, or Jill Stein. Bring these other parties into the conversation, and maybe in another 4 years we'll have woken up enough people that we can kind of divorce ourselves from this need for government that does nothing but bring us poverty, bring us into more wars, and waste more of our time. Look at all the money that we spend on war. We should be out exploring the stars. We should be bringing humanity to the next level. Instead, a few people are able to convince us over and over again, because humanity as a whole has a short attention span, but a few people are able to convince us to go to war. And people think that the enemy today is hatred because there's so much racism and division. It's not. The enemy is fear. Racism and all of these differences of ideology and religion, it all boils down to fear. And what a politician or a talking head or a personality can convince you to believe is real. So thanks for spending time watching my video, folks. I really hope that more people wake up and start doing their own research. The DNC leaks, that's real. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. You Google it and look at it for yourself. You can listen to the audio of hacked phone conversations. I don't care where it came from. I don't care if it came from Russia or Edward Snowden. The fact is that they exist. You should be more angry that your government has been caught red-handed deceiving you than you should be about what your government-controlled media is telling you to be angry about. That's it, folks. Have a good day.